it's Rose and welcome back to Cheap Lazy Vegan. So today's video is a little bit different, so I thought I would start off with an intro to give you guys some context. So basically this video is a little snippet from our podcast. So I have a podcast called the SaVeg Podcast with my friend Daniel, and we basically discuss all kinds of different topics and issues, especially current events that are happening and just current topics that we're interested in talking about. And a few weeks ago we discussed the concept of cultured meat and our thoughts on it, and I thought it would be an interesting little segment to add into my channel. So if you guys want to check out our podcast, I'll leave some information down below. You can listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. We're also on YouTube, so you can subscribe to our channel because we film the video portions and post it on YouTube. And if you guys are interested, we also have a Patreon where you can actually get bonus episodes every month. So we do one bonus episode every single month, and it's only $3 a month now. It used to be $5, but right now it's only $3 a month to join, and you get a bonus episode from us every single month that is only exclusive to Patreon, and also you get every episode a week earlier than everybody else, and it is also ad-free. So if you want to watch the videos ad-free, then Patreon is the place to go. But either way, the episodes are available for you guys to listen to. So I would love it if you guys want to join us over there on the SaVeg Podcast. So anyways, listen to this little snippet. I hope you found it interesting, and feel free, of course, to share your opinions down below in the comment section. I would love to hear your thoughts. And yeah, without further ado, let's get on to the video.
Okay, so today, guys, we're going to be talking about the breaking news. It's not really breaking at this point. It's been a few days, but we've had a few days to soak it all in.
Yeah.
And the news is that Singapore became the first country to approve the sale of lab-grown meat, also known as, I believe, cultured meat is another term to use.
Okay, yeah,
And
cultured,
basically, yeah, for those of you that don't know what it is, it's exactly how it sounds. It's lab-grown meat. So what they do is they take the cells of an actual, like, let's say chicken, for example, and then they grow that cell into, meat, essentially, in a lab. So basically, all you need are like the starting cells, I guess.
And then once you get those
Yeah.
starting cells, do you ever have to get an animal again? Like, is it
I
just in
feel
the
like
very
you
beginning,
don't.
and then after that, it's done?
I don't know the details.
Yeah.
I don't know the details, but people are saying that you actually don't. Like once you have the main cells, so once you get it once, I believe you don't have to, unless you fuck it up, right?
Yeah.
Like there's obviously a chance of you fucking it up, but like as long as you don't fuck it up, you can like continuously multiply those cells.
Yeah.
And continuously create meat that is made in a lab. So it's basically chicken, like let's say it's chicken. The thing that they're selling in Singapore, or they're going to sell in Singapore, is going to be chicken.
Chicken nuggets,
like
right?
Lab-grown chicken. I believe so.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if it's chicken, it's literal like chicken meat, but it's not from a dead animal, which is like insane.
Yeah.
What do you think, Daniel? I want to hear your thoughts on this whole thing.
So I don't know. The thing is, and I don't know if this is just me, but like my personal view is like, I don't know. To me, it just seems a bit strange. Not strange. Well, I guess a little bit like eating something that's been grown out of a petri dish. Although I do feel like a lot of the foods that we eat, they have some, bacterial elements to them. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. It kind of weirds me out a little bit. And partly why I think that is because like producing meat in this way, because this isn't like a meat substitute. This is like, well, I mean, it would technically be a meat substitute, but this is meat, right? Like it's not like we're getting tofu or like, soy or something that's trying to be meat. Like this is meat. And part of the reason, and I could be like off on a weird tangent here, but part of the reason why it kind of like, it weirds me out a little bit is only because like, it's hard when you start messing with cells, like to know with 100% accuracy, like what's going to happen. Like, and the reason I say this is because like, I remember there was this really famous story when people were like obsessed with cloning things, right? They wanted to like be able to clone animals and like really like make a replica of something else. And I remember there was like this famous story, and this was like years ago, so it could have changed by now, but it just like stuck with me, where they had made a, genetic replica of a sheep. And I can't even remember what type of sheep.
I think I remember this.
And then it kind of grew up, but then it didn't last very long. Like it ended up not having a full lifespan and like got really sick, the genetically modified sheep or whatever. So like it makes me a little bit like hesitant about this kind of like cell grown things. I mean, I could be completely wrong. Like, I think as time goes on, maybe if this technology and things becomes more widespread and we understand it a bit better, then I might be a bit more comfortable. But initially, I'm just kind of a bit like, ooh, I'm not sure, you know?
Have you read up on the arguments for it? Why do you think people would do this?
Why do I think people would make
cell-grown meat?
Well, I mean, the main one is like the same argument for like why people, not the same argument, but like because you could mass produce without using the same amount of land. Like you could mass produce the meat, and you don't need animals.
So you don't need to subject animals to the suffering.
Yeah.
Which is a huge argument to be made.
Yeah.
And I think I mean, yes, you're right that there might be some repercussions to whatever we're doing. We're obviously messing with things that, maybe shouldn't be messed with. Who knows? But at the same time, my argument would be that what we're doing now in terms of factory farming, we're already genetically modifying shit.
That's
so
true.
Like, yes, you're right. If we weren't already doing that, then it would be an argument to be made. But the problem is that we're already taking animals and genetically modifying them to grow faster.
Yeah.
To, for example, like chickens, they grow like at a rate that is completely not natural at all because they've been pumped in with hormones.
With growth hormones, yeah.
And we keep them in tiny, tiny little cages. We keep these animals in horrific conditions. So my opinion is that we're already running this like Frankenstein experiment. It's just not. We just think it's normal because that's what's already been. We're used to it.
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah, so we know that this is what already happens. But the reason why we think this is weird is because we're just not used to this concept. But if you look at the concept of factory farming, that's already a dystopian world that we live in.
Yeah.
So I think that, if we're going to use technology, we're already using the technology to do these horrific things to these animals. If we're going to use science and technology, we might as well at least try to use it for something good.
Yeah.
For example, like lab-grown meat. And
Well, I think
I mean,
I was going to say, well, I think obviously the biggest benefit, and like we said, is the fact of the matter. Well, one, obviously the ethical part of it, not having to kill animals anymore to get this product, to get meat. But like the biggest thing is the amount of land that we'll be able to, remember in the David Attenborough documentary, how he said we need to reclaim the wild spaces. And if we start producing meat like this, then we can start doing that in a large scale. What do you think?
Without killing animals.
Exactly. I was thinking about this like today when we because like you had sent me this story, and I was thinking about like, I wonder like, okay, let's say like if you're in that industry, like if you're in the dairy industry or the meat industry and you can see all of these things coming in, wouldn't you as a business want to maybe adapt to start doing some of that stuff? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I feel like this is a really good thing that could potentially shift the industry quite a lot. I mean, we've already seen this happen with dairy and with milk. Like we've seen this, like the soy and milk alternatives really coming in and like making huge waves. Right. So, it'll be interesting. I think I didn't think of it.
Well, I think that if you're smart it depends on the person.
Yeah.
Some people are they want to hold on to whatever is, normal to them and whatever they've already been doing. So those people will probably try to hold on to this idea of meat as long as possible. And, like for example, the farmers that are, currently breeding the animals right now, they probably think that their job is threatened and they'll probably petition and they'll probably do all kinds of things. Like they're already doing that with the milk products. For example, they're trying to fight against calling almond milk. They're trying to, they're doing all these campaigns to try to prove their innocence, that dairy cows are somehow treated nicely or whatever it is. So they're already doing these things. But then there are certain people that are more forward thinking, and they switch their operations. Like they'll be like, oh, actually, I found out different information and now I'm going to switch to, maybe producing just, vegetables in my, before it was a dairy farm. And now I'm going to make, almond milk or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it depends on the person and whether or not you're willing to accept that the world is going to change and it's going to evolve. I do think a lot of farmers are going to have a problem with this though, if this is going to become a kind of a global thing.
Yeah. The interesting thing too is I don't know if I'm talking off base here, but I always hear about these like subsidies for farmers. So I feel like a lot of the farming industry is already like in a lot of countries is heavily subsidized by the government. So like
absolutely.
It's so interesting that like, again, we're like living in these like capitalistic countries, yet a lot of like industries like that are being so heavily subsidized by our governments. So, it's
because the meat producers are in bed with the government. So that's why it's always so hard to push anything that's anti-meat or anti-dairy, because these industries are so powerful and they have a lot of money in government. So they, the legislation is all about, protecting these industries. So,
but I think again, as we see more and more of this stuff and this like swing in consumer spending, obviously money is power, and as more and more people switch to these alternatives, hopefully some of that power will shift a bit. So
would you eat it, Daniel?
I don't know. I feel
really.
I don't know if I might. I don't know. I just haven't eaten meat for so long, and I feel like the reasons why I don't eat meat, this kind of addresses them in many ways. Do you know what I mean? Like part of the reason why I don't eat meat is obviously the environmental impact and also that ethical side. So if those two are addressed, then I don't know if I'd have such a problem eating it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think I would, just because it's been so long, like you said, and I don't feel the need.
Yeah.
But I did say if they came up with this for fish, I might eat that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it was meat, I'm totally fine with not eating it. And also the idea of it kind of idea of meat just in general grosses me out, not because it's like cell produced or whatever, cell grown.
Yeah. Cultured.
But I would definitely, cultured. I would definitely encourage other people to eat it because, it's for people that already eat meat still, that still eat meat. But they want to maybe, care about the environment and the animals, but they have a hard time giving it up.
Yeah.
I think that is, a lot of people actually. And so if that fixes that problem, but my issue, I guess my only issue with current people that are already vegan or vegetarian eating this stuff, like for example, let's say we decided to try this cell-grown chicken, which I don't think we would, but like, let's say we did.
Yeah.
I think my main issue is that I thought about this and I thought it seems harmless, but I do think it could be a slippery slope because like once we start eating, because we're not used to eating it anymore. So we don't have a taste for it now. But once we start introducing this like cell grown meat into our diet, then we might actually start wanting or craving meat just in general. So that's the kind of dangerous game that I don't think I want to play.
Yeah.
Because I'm fine without it. But once you start like reintroducing something like that, and also we can also talk about, the health impact of, eating it. And obviously there's a health argument to be made, which is obviously very powerful as well. So, but yeah, my main, I guess, hesitancy with pushing it to anyone other than people that already eat meat would be that it's a slippery slope back to a meat eating diet, which I don't want. Which
also, it's interesting. Yeah. I think you're right. Like this product would be really good for those people that do really like, they say, are concerned about the environment and other things, but they can't take that step for whatever reason to not eat meat anymore. It's so funny because meat's one of those things where people are like, they're so easy to turn a blind eye to it. Do you know what I mean? Like they might recycle and be so good at all this stuff, but as soon as you start talking to them about like meat and that kind of stuff, they're like, oh, don't tell me about that. I don't want to know. Like I kind of know already, but this is a really great product for those people. So, if I was a farmer, I would really consider, I would look at what's going on.
I wonder how easy it is.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how easy it is to do this.
Yeah.
Like I'm like actually I'm mind blown that this actually happened, because I remember when they first started talking about it, this was like a few years ago.
Yeah.
I think I was still in the UK.
It was when we were in the UK. I remember them talking about it. Yeah.
Oh, you remember this?
Yeah.
Okay. So they were talking about this and I was like, oh my God, it seems crazy. Like it doesn't seem like it's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, of course time goes by so fast and now we're here and now it's like actually, available or almost going to be available.
Yeah. It's crazy because but then you have to also think, okay, how easy is it again? But also, and right now, how expensive is it going to be? You know what I mean? Like,
well, apparently, I was reading up on this because that was my main question, because I thought, is it going to cost like $100 for like one nugget?
Yeah.
But I read that it's going to be priced at the premium. No, it's going to be priced the same as premium chicken. I don't know what that means. I don't know how much premium chicken costs, but that sounds reasonable to me.
yeah. I mean, maybe premium chicken is like more like organic or whatever, you know, like organic
that's
veg.
my guess.
So it'll be a bit more expensive, but
it's not like insane, which I was very surprised, because I thought, especially the initial stage of like, you know, releasing this product, I thought, oh my God, they're going to price it like really high. And then eventually, you know, more people are going to make it, and then it's going to, you know, bring down the cost. But initially already they're charging it at, I think, what seems like a relatively, you know, reasonable price. So that's exciting. So that means that they can probably get the cost down lower. That's my guess.
yeah.
Imagine if we could just have like a world full of like these, you know, labs that are just growing meat. That could be the future, Daniel.
That could be the future. And then we could like literally like cut our land use in half.
Yes. And abolish factory farming.
Yes. And we could start, you know, replanting our forests, and like so much good shit would happen. Oh my God.
I know. So this is, I don't know. To me, this sounds like a very exciting, you know, thing that's happening. And I'm hoping that this will catch on. And yeah, I'm like fully on board.
You know what?
I'm fully on board.
Me too. You know what? Actually.
I've changed your mind.
Well, I wasn't just like, I was like on the fence about it already. The only thing I thought was like a bit weird, but then I thought, actually, you make a really valid point about how we're already pumping meat with full of hormones and all kinds of disgusting things. So actually, you know, what's the difference? Not what's the difference, but like growing it in a lab is not actually that far fetched. But you know, do you have your phone with you?
Yes. Why?
Because I put the question out to our audience, just like asking them what they thought about it. And you should see what their comments were in our story.
Oh shit, we were going to do this. I totally forgot. Okay, we might not be able to get to whatever other stories. Was there another story, Daniel?
There was another one.
Oh, you wanted to rant.
I can save my rant for next podcast.
Okay, next episode. Because we got to go through these.
Exactly. Next podcast, I'll talk about tickets and refunds and the bane of my life.
Daniel went through some... Oh, Daniel. Okay, hold on. Let me get to... Okay, why don't you go to... Do you have your phone with you?
My phone's recording.
No, but I also, like, I put out a story on mine. Why, did you get some controversial opinions, Daniel?
No, it's just a lot of people were like, oh, well, a lot of people were saying that they wouldn't, as a vegan, they wouldn't eat it, but they might feed it to their pets.
Yes.
That was a really popular one.
Yes. Oh, I loved that one. So yeah, I had some people saying that they wouldn't eat it themselves, but it would be used for them as pet food. And I was like, this is fucking genius. They could definitely do this because, you know, a lot of vegans have pets that, you know, can't be vegan. Okay.
Exactly.
And the whole idea of like pets being vegan is very controversial to begin with, especially with cats. Like they say cats are obligate carnivores. So if you could do this and feed it to like your cat, like that's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me get this goddamn, this be stressful as all hell.
Is it stressful as all hell, Rose?
Yeah. I need to find the story of which I asked people because I got a lot of responses. And yeah, I think the consensus amongst vegans is that they wouldn't eat it themselves, but, I found it. But they would definitely support the idea. Okay, so let me see here. So some people said it would be a great thing for the animals. Someone said I would eat lab-grown fish. Someone said, what the fuck? I don't know if this is a troll, but it said, I heard they are coming out with some kind of meat made from humans.
What?
That sounds like a troll.
Yeah, that's a troll.
It is smart, but you would never know if you are actually being lied to, if it is harmed or not. As in, I think she's saying, like
is it factory farmed?
She's saying that they could still be harming, like you wouldn't know if it's actually lab grown or not. I think that's what she's saying. That's true.
Can we just take a second though to just address that freaking comment from before? Just because someone's talking about growing animal lab meat, what does that have to do with people being carnivorous and growing like people, like meat from people? Like, what is wrong with people?
Oh,
seriously, I don't understand. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry if I'm coming across as a
God.
dick, but I'm like, okay, like it would make sense if, again, like bring a question or an argument that actually is relevant to the conversation. When were we ever talking about cannibalism? Like, please.
Maybe she heard that they were going to start doing it to human meat.
But who's eating human meat?
I don't know. Some cultures, maybe.
Really?
Have you seen that movie? It's called Alive. It's like it's a true story based on, it's a movie based on a true story. And it's about this like rugby team that got stuck in the Andes. Like they had a plane crash and they got stuck in the Andes and then they had to survive. And it's like actually based on a true story. And they had to eat human meat to survive.
Oh God.
Would you do that, Daniel, to survive?
Oh God. I mean,
But they didn't kill the humans. Like they ate the meat of the humans that
died.
were already dead.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Would you do that to not starve?
I mean, if it's a life or death situation and that's your only
Yes.
option, I guess I have to.
Oh God. Oh,
Like,
God.
it would be
Oh, my God.
disgusting. Like, it wouldn't be my first choice, Rose, and hopefully we're never in that
Yeah.
situation. God
Oh
damn.
God, I hope not. Well, okay, so someone else said, weird science experiment, would rather stick to vegan whole foods. And then someone else said, all for anything that helps people transition away from actual meat. So yeah, I think that is the consensus.
Yeah.
And then someone wrote, we don't need to eat meat, period. I think it's unhealthy and unnecessary, to be honest. Okay, here's what I have to say to that. I don't care if it's unhealthy. Some people are going to still eat it.
Exactly.
So I would rather increase the land, our land mass and also decrease animal suffering. So if you want to be unhealthy and eat meat, I would rather you eat lab-grown meat. So it's not about you. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
like,
and
it's not about you.
Exactly. And this is the thing. So many people now, like globally, have become so ingrained with eating meat, right? So actually, this is a perfect alternative for those people because you're right.
Exactly.
Like these people can have their cake and eat it too, is the expression. They can still enjoy meat that they like to eat all the time, but they're doing it in a more sustainable way, and in a way in which we can actually maybe start addressing some of the climate challenges that we're having on our planet and also some of the ethical concerns, So actually
Absolutely.
it's kind of a win-win, to be honest.
It is a win-win. I really hope this takes off.
I know.
Someone actually wrote, this is interesting, would love for people to switch, but still worry that it enforces the we need meat narrative, which I kind of agree. To some extent. I think that's a kind of like iffy part because a lot of people say like, you know what, we don't want to push this idea that like meat is absolutely necessary for our diets.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of difficult part when you kind of make these like smaller transitions, not necessarily like telling people go vegan.
And
But again, like I'm for the believer of like smaller steps and steps toward the right direction.
Yeah. And I the thing is like where I'm kind of like, I get where that person's coming from and I get that sentiment, but at the same time, we're seeing from more and more documentaries, we're getting to this point globally of almost no return when it comes to climate change and things. So from that perspective, I think the sooner we can get some sort of alternative or something that can appease the masses, because let's face it, majority of people are still eating meat. If we can get something like this that can come into the market and just like, shatter the need for factory farms, I'm all for that, So I know it does suck because it is reinforcing that narrative, but we can't really afford to, worry. I mean, not worry about that.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, it's not like that narrative isn't already prevalent amongst the majority of the population.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, you're right that we should maybe we should still push the idea of plant-based living.
Exactly.
I think. But the fact of the matter is we have 99% of the population still eating meat. And it's still the majority consensus that this is needed in our diet or that people don't want to give it up.
Exactly.
So it's a long way to fucking go.
Exactly.
So if we can find a way to at least shortcut it a little bit.
Exactly. Or just shortcut the the big damage, both like ethically, but environmentally, the damages that we're doing, combat that to a huge degree. Then, we can start looking at trying to change that narrative. But if we can have those wins before that, I think, you know what? I'm all for it.
Yeah. So let's see what else. A step towards getting rid of factory farming. Yes. Dubious. More processed foods our bodies don't need. No thanks. Again, you don't need to eat it.
Yeah.
But let's support it. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But like it's about the, bigger than your health. I think that's the point. Let's see. Knowing myself would be hesitant and controversial at first, but then probably try it. Yeah, I mean, you don't need to try it, guys. Like, honestly, I think that it's good for people that like can't live without it. But anyways, oh my God, there's like a lot. God damn, these comments. There's so many.
Oh my God, Rose, there's
That's
so
for
many.
me. Let me see our podcast comments.
We'll have like 3. No, but we still have a few. So we definitely had it because I put it in the story, Roses.
God damn. Well, I don't know why you put it in the story after I already put it in my story, Daniels. You trying to override my story? Mm-hmm. You trying to copy my story?
Trying to steal your
Is that what you're trying to do?
Trying to steal your fans.
God damn. Let's see. When'd you post this shit? Oh, yeah. You posted it here. Mm-hmm. Let's see. I think it's good option. I think it is a good option, but for people won't be for it because it's not natural. So yes, I think that's going to be the main argument against it.
Yeah.
Is that it's not natural, so therefore, but I think my argument kind of, I think
your argument trumps it. That was initially my concern as well.
Yes.
I wasn't thinking about the process of the factory farms at the moment. And I was thinking, oh, it doesn't seem natural. It's a bit weird. Like, but then when you think about it, you're like, well, hang on a second. The way that we're growing like chickens and all of this stuff with growth hormones and pumped with antibiotics, that's not normal either or natural. So
yeah. And like, think about all the food that we see in our grocery store, all the junk food, again, no one's saying that it's healthy, but like, we already eat a very unnatural diet, follow a very unnatural, way of living.
Exactly.
So, again, we're sat here inside our houses with our laptops,
our mics,
recording shit on our mics. None of this is natural. So the natural argument just is not.
Doesn't work
argument.
anymore. We're not hunter gatherers running out in the woods anymore. So yeah, everything that we do isn't natural. Like wearing clothes, like different types of clothes every day. That's not natural. Like.
Yeah.
God damn.
And then someone wrote, it's a step in the right direction for moral eating, but I fear a form of captivity may still exist. I think everyone's kind of concerned, but I guess it's still a step in the right direction.
Exactly.
So I think we need to, again, but I just feel like once they get the cells once, like you don't need to get it again.
Yeah. But we don't know the full process of how it works. So it could be that.
Would a scientist like to share?
Exactly. Do we have any scientist listeners of the podcast? Could you please let us know?
Oh God. It must fucking like, if we have a scientist listener, we must make their heads explode every time we try to like talk about something scientific.
I think we do okay, Rose.
Are you sure?
Maybe not. I don't know. But this is a really interesting debate though. Like I kind of like, it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. I'm like excited because you're right. Like I remember hearing about potentially lab grown meat. It was a steak. I recall it being a steak when we were in London. Someone was talking about a lab grown steak.
Yeah. It was like beef.
Yeah. It was something beefy. And I remember thinking like, oh, that's really interesting. But I didn't think it went anywhere because it was too expensive to mass produce.
Yes.
So that was one of the like holdbacks. But it seems like this company I think it's called Eat Just.
It's Just, yeah. So it's the same company that makes I think they used to be called Hampton Creek, but I guess they changed their name. I'm not sure. But they made, they used to make, they still make, I guess, Just Mayo. So they have like a vegan mayo. And they also make an egg substitute. It's called Just Egg.
Okay.
And they don't sell it here in Canada. Fuck our lives.
Of course not.
But it's like a jar of like vegan egg. And now they're very like innovative in terms of like this kind of technology. So yeah, I guess they're, experimenting with making fake chicken or not fake chicken, real chicken, but
chicken. Fake. But not from a chicken.
It's so weird. What a fucking weird world we live in.
It's
we did this shit to ourselves, yo.
Well, exactly.
Okay?
But
the fucking damage is done.
This actually, I'm going to tell you, how on the previous episode of this podcast, we were talking about the David Attenborough documentary and I was feeling very negative.
On not the previous episode, one of the previous episodes, Daniel. Let's talk proper English. Thank you.
One of the previous. I'm pretty sure I said one of the previous.
No, you said the previous episode.
We'll see in the edits who's right and who's wrong. Anyway,
you're gonna edit in you saying one of.
I could do that easily. I was thinking part of the problem was like there were so many changes that we needed to make that I just didn't see society as a whole making in order for us to get to a better place environmentally. But with stuff like this, the reason why it really like strikes a nerve with me, like even talking about this, it's making me feel a bit more positive, is the fact that this kind of product isn't asking people to change. Do you know what I mean? We're not asking them to change their habits. So that's an easy win.
Well, I think people are going to still think it's asking them to change.
Yeah, they are. But I mean, like overall, it's not like you're not.
Will they actually know? Will they know if the meat that they're buying in the store is lab grown or not?
Well, and do they have to put that in the packaging? Could they just package it as chicken? Say premium chicken grown in a, and then small print. You know, they always have the little have a small print right at the bottom, grown in a lab.
But it's the only way to be sustainable. But I guess my problem is that even though we know the solutions, even in terms of like climate change, some of the solutions anyways, we're still not really making those changes. So that's my concern.
Yeah.
And my concern is the corruption up top of the government, meat and dairy, and how, they're probably going to fight fucking...
Oh, they are going
to... They are going to fight.
Tooth and nail. They are going to fight
tooth and
nail against this. They're going to be like...
This is the issue.
Like, I'm sure they probably have some things already in the works about how to somehow overturn this.
They'll definitely they'll definitely use the natural message.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh, look at this cow on this field eating the grass.
Yeah.
This is our beef.
Yes.
But when you buy, this lab grown meat, this will be what you get. And it'll be like a fucking disgusting like Petri dish.
Yeah. That's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to market it like that. They're going to do commercials. It's like, I was telling you about how there's a commercial right now for a fast food chain in Calgary, Canada.
A&W?
Yeah. And they basically like show, they're talking to the dairy farmers and whatever the farmers. And they're like, this field is where all of our cows graze. And we only produce sustainably sourced beef. But I'm like,
you're like, that's an oxymoron, bitch.
It's not possible. So
it's not possible.
God
and like,
damn.
how do we even know, bitch? Like, how do we even, and like, yeah, right. They're all on the field. You're going to feed all your fast food chains with the beef from organically raised farms.
Well, just think about think about a fast food chain and how many burgers they go through a day.
And how cheap it's not expensive.
No. And
usually grass-fed shit is like expensive.
So just from that alone, they're not going to be able to produce enough cows that way to sustain, or not to sustain, to even source enough food or beef for the burgers that the fast food chains are using. So like,
I know. It's fucked up, yo. I know, the world. But I mean, I thought that was like one piece of positive news out of the many, many pieces of negative news.
Yeah, I'm feeling really good.
So,
like I really this is a positive story in my eyes, Should we go to Singapore
and start getting people to eat the chicken? We won't eat it, but we'll get people and
we'll promote it.
Sample out the chicken.
Yeah. Let's do it. I mean, I want to go to Asia next year. So
oh my God, I know, right?
I'm thinking I'm going to go.
Apparently, Singapore has really good vegan food.
Really?
Yeah, someone commented. Well, I don't remember because for those of you guys that don't know, I lived in Singapore for 4 or 5 months back right before I went plant-based or mostly plant-based.
Yeah.
So when I was in Singapore, I was not vegan at all. I was a full-on meat eater. And so I don't remember. Obviously, at that time, when you're not a vegan or a vegetarian, you don't look for those options.
Of course, you
so
wouldn't.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like when I backpacked through that whole area, Singapore, Vietnam, all those places. Like, again, I was eating meat all the time. So I didn't even notice. But apparently in Vietnam as well, there's also some good...
I heard that too.
Yeah. So,
I want to go. Imagine the delicious Vietnamese vegan food. I would die.
And Thai.
It's so good.
And just so
Thai,
many...
I don't know. I wonder if Thai would be... In Thailand, I wonder if they would have lots of vegan options because I know they use a lot of fish sauce.
Yeah, and they also use fish paste, I think, as well, or shrimp paste or something in a lot of their curries. So yeah, that would be a tough one. But if they did, oh my God, I love Thai food. Is so good. Oh,
honestly,
so good.
I was telling people, I was like, Asian food is actually really easy to veganize. You just have to want to do it, and it's actually very easy.
Yeah, because like
all those cuisines.
Yeah, because a lot of the flavors will still come through without having that.
Exactly, because it's all from plants.
Exactly. Because like, for example, there's like a really good place here in Calgary, Heart's Choices, that does Thai food. And when I first got here for my quarantine, my parents got me a bunch of these like ready meals kind of, and they were different Thai curries. One was green, one was red. They were good. Amazing and all vegan. So like you don't need to have that ingredient in there to make it so that it's not delicious,
It's because my theory is that these countries, they were, like developing countries, and they didn't have like the resources to have like a piece of steak for every meal. Like meat was very expensive back in the day before all the subsidies started coming in and factory farming and all that stuff. So traditionally, the food in these like more so developing countries, even Korea, are plant-based because they just had to be.
Yeah.
So that's why they were very innovative with the, you know, what they had. So that's why Vietnamese food, Thai food, Korean food, all of that is really, you know, can be very heavily plant-based traditionally.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
God damn, now I want to eat. I had dinner already. Now I'd be hungry. You got me
damn.
craving some Thai.
All right, you guys, so that was the discussion about cultured meat and lab-grown meat. I hope you found this interesting. If you want to share your thoughts, of course, leave them down below. I would love to hear your opinions. You guys always have the best insights. So guys, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. And of course, guys, do not forget to check out the SaVeg podcast. Once again, we are on your favorite podcast streaming platforms, iTunes, Spotify, and we're also on YouTube. And of course, we're also on Patreon for those exclusive episodes. All of the information will be down below. So check us out on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, all those good things. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!